In a small, unmarked building in West Allis, Steve Hawthorne is busy turning beans into brew-ready gold as he pursues his dream with Hawthorne Coffee Roasters.
I really enjoy the top quality coffees, and so it's sort of a game for me to find the best that I can and then bring them back here and teach people about it, teach people what makes this coffee so good and how they can brew it perfectly and really make it an enjoyable thing for their customers.
Steve may have opened Hawthorne Roasters just 7 months ago, but he's spent years traveling the world as a professional coffee buyer.
So the coffee bean is actually the pit of a cherry, so coffee grows on trees as a cherry.
So it starts on a farm far, far away. You get through a supplier the raw beans here, and then what happens?
And then I move on to my roasting. I roast in very small batches. I only roast 4 pounds of coffee at a time. And it allows me to have ultimate control over the whole roasting process. This is called cupping. So what I do here is take samples of every batch that I roast, put them on the table, and then taste them to make sure that I'm hitting the same flavor profiles every time. The big thing is you want to try and get the coffee to touch all the taste buds on your tongue. Part of the slurp is to spray it over, and it also will aerate the coffee and cool it down a little bit as you taste. What I'm looking for is body of the coffee, kind of how the mouthfeel, how heavy it is, acidity, sweetness, balance, how everything's working together. And then just, again, any general defects, if there's any problems, you'll find it here.
While Steve certainly shows he has the experience, Milwaukee is home to a number of well-established coffee roasters. This begs the question, is there room for Hawthorne Roasters in the Brew City?
I don't know that you can be oversaturated yet at this point here in Milwaukee. A coffee roaster is sort of like a restaurant in the sense that they have a different style of doing things, a different way of roasting.
So what about those well-established competitors?
We see this as kind of a growing culture.
Stone Creek's Director of Coffee, Christian Ott, Anodyne's Director of Wholesale Operations, Steve Kessler, and Collectivo's Director of Coffee, George Brager, all agree Milwaukee's coffee bean tree has deep roots and plenty of room to grow.
Before specialty coffee became specialty coffee, Milwaukee was sort of already on the map. You know, up there with San Francisco and Boston and some of these other markets that were kind of at the forefront of specialty coffee.
I think in the next year or two, we're going to see a bunch of other small roasters kind of open up, and this whole coffee scene is just going to explode.
When you mentioned something like the Brew City, I think it's really taking on a whole new meaning because now it's just not only beer. You know, it can refer to coffee.
Where do you want Hawthorne Coffee Roastery to go?
I want to get my coffee in front of as many people as possible and to teach them to appreciate the finer things of coffee. It won't be for everybody, but the ones that do enjoy it, I want to be there for them.